The world has changed. Future without boundaries is just around the corner. The way we live today can become obsolete tomorrow. A whole new dimension driven by the evolution of AI and virtual reality. Are you ready for the inevitable?
From meme to utility, Floki has it all. NFT metaverse game called Valhalla. Floki University, DeFi, charity, and shopping. Floki is governed by the people, for the people. Floki, together there is no stopping us.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. It's your host, Adrian Zdunchuk, CMT Charter Market Technician. Some people know me as CryptoVerb. And I'm joined on this excellent, great session of Rebase AMA. And Rebase are our partners. And well, there's a lot to be explored because we are in the digital world, we are in the Web3 world, and the Web3 is thriving like now. Like no one really, outside of crypto could tell, right? Because the crypto people are going mainstream. It takes some time, however, it's happening with the help of the Web3. And to talk about it and then delve deeper into what's happening around the Rebase and this particular mission, I'm joined by an excellent leader, C of Rebase, who's very enthusiastic to be on the show, just like I am. There's a lot of good people, a lot of good people in the NFT space. There are a lot of good people, incredible people in the Web3 space. However, there are not many female voices, which is why I'm even more honored to be joined. How's it going, C? How are you feeling?
Amazing. It's an amazing day, and I don't know. I love it here. I love it in Web3. It's funny because you touched on a little thing where everyone expects me to be a guy, and then they get surprised. Like, oh, okay, not a man. Yeah, there's a lot of us out there. So yeah.
That's good. There should be more strong female presence, in those terms, right? Because there are so many incredible creators. There are so many, like, this space is so male dominated, and it's not necessarily always the good thing, right? So myself, coming from the trading background, just to give a little bit of more context, before I shut up for the rest of the show, this is pretty incredible because female, like, traders, women are far better traders on average than men. Okay, men are always, with this axe, and they're gonna be brave, and they want to just go like raw strength, power, and which is always what cracks us up basically and makes us lose a lot of money, right? This has nothing to do with the rational. While female traders, the women are so much superior in terms of the rational, the emotional management, right? Which is something that we struggle with on our side. So what's the secret to you, before we roll into the very depths of the Rebase? What's the secret, C, for keeping it sane in such a male-dominated space on your end?
Oh, I'm not. There's no way. There's no way to be sane in this, but it's a good thing, like, it's a good thing because it allows us to be a little bit more creative. And this space requires you to move in a very different way because it requires like multiple faculties, of your mind to be working in combination, right? Like, you need to be doing a lot of things to be successful. And also at the same time, we're all learning, right? This is very new. We're all learning. We still don't really fully understand the implications of what we're doing. And I'm sure that the landscape is going to look vastly different a year from now. But it's a lot of fun. It's not easy. A lot of people, they ask me, whether, or a lot of people think, they look at what I do and they look at like the success that I have, and they think it's easy. And they think, oh, you just got lucky. I used to be one of those people. 2 years ago. I was like, oh God, you guys are just out here lucky. But the truth is, it's a lot of hard work. We lose a lot of money, a lot of patience, a lot of hope, a lot of stress. It's like this emotional roller coaster. Everything is okay, and then it's not. And it's not for like the faint of heart. Like, you have to really want to be here, which I think also speaks volumes for the people that do stick around, because everyone that sticks around really loves being here. And this is the secret to Web3 and just community in general, and why Solana, I think, feels very special. It's because everyone wants to be here and everyone wants to make this work, and everyone is kind of out here helping each other to make things work and to make this better. And like, I can tell you that the friends that I've made in Web3 are some of the best friends that I've ever made. And I think we're very close because of, like, we're all in this together, rain or, shine, doesn't matter. And yeah, so I guess that's kind of like my two bits on it.
I love it. I love it. I really admire your enthusiasm, right? It's very difficult at times to keep it this way in crypto, especially, for all that ups and downs. There's a lot of volatility, there's a lot of uncertainty, which drives us crazy at times, more than the other times. And seeing so much of a beautiful smile and so much enthusiasm on your side, is very soothing and is very good. Would you mind I'm really curious, right, to get to know you better from the perspective of Rebase, right? Like how it all started for you. What does Rebase mean to you?
Mm-hmm. So I guess I could give you a little bit of context on who I am and what I have done. I actually came from Web2, and I did pretty well in a Web2 content creator. And I stumbled into Web3 like 3 years ago now. Oh my gosh. And I was like, this is amazing. I don't know how I belong, and I just need to be here. So I stopped doing everything. I stopped my incredibly successful career, everything. And I just went and I traveled the world, and I went to various crypto conferences, hacker houses, particularly on Solana, and kind of like figuring out how I fit. And one of the things that I realized that I'm very good at is obviously digital marketing and anything that has to do with people and partnerships. And I love gaming. It's kind of like one of the things that I have done in the past. It's how my YouTube channel started. I got really really big in Web2 indie games. And when I met Edmund and this opportunity arose to be part of Rebase, it just made sense. It just made sense because I do a bit of everything for Rebase, and I love what we're doing, and I love the capabilities and the future that Rebase has, especially as the platform that it was when I first entered Rebase. And it gets me excited because I love Web3 gaming, and I think it's the future. So Rebase is kind of like when I first got into it, and when I first came to understand it reminded me a lot of Pokemon Go, but for Web3, which is honestly a brilliant concept if you think about it. Like Pokemon Go in a Web3 form makes complete sense from a metaverse play, from a Web3 play, from the stance of being able to have physical events with the Web3 functionalities, which is something that initially lacks in a lot of Web3 events. And yeah, that's kind of like the gist.
I love it. I love it. You know what I loved about the Rebase app itself when it was out? We played along. At that time, we were actually in Miami. It was a year ago. No, less than a year ago, much less. The time flies fast still. We played along, and there were a lot of just like you mentioned. Myself coming from. I used to love Pokemon. I was super crazy about Pokemon back in the day.
Yeah.
When being a kid. So revisiting this app was basically getting back into the childhood memories, and me being able to kind of just delve into this digital world and this combination of collecting the NFTs in the space. There's a lot of good things that we can utilize from the Web3. And there can be a lot of utility as well for many other brands, right? Who, just like you mentioned, there are a lot of Web3 projects, a lot of Web3 brands, and isn't there a way that Rebase actually can help a lot of those brands flourish as well?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, I'll bring you back to one of our activations that we had during Breakpoint, and it holds a very special, a special part inside my heart because. We decided that we needed to have a Breakpoint presence. We needed to do that. And we decided this 2 weeks before. And trying to put all of this together was intense, but it speaks volumes at how amazing my team is and how dedicated we are to creating these things. And essentially what we decided to do was to create this kind of like scavenger hunt, highlighting like the best of Solana. We were able to partner up with some of the amazing projects in Solana right now, and we created, if you will, these Pokestops. Depending on, for example, Claynosaurus was at the Clayno Hotel, so we had a big Bronto at the Clayno Hotel, and then people could walk towards it and have a chance of winning prizes related to Claynos. And the cool thing is that like you would see all of these projects on your map, and you could like kind of see where they are. And it also gives you a little bit of a blurb and explanation of what the project is and a link to, go check it out, which is honestly something that I think makes it a lot easier for you to get exposure to new communities in general. So that was a lot of fun. People loved it. And that's kind of like the basic, if you think about the basic activations or the basic possibilities of what brands can experience on Rebase, these kind of like scavenger hunts. I'm sure like you've been to like Web3 events and they've had kind of like scavenger hunts, but they're like physical scavenger hunts and they don't really work out very well. So this one is actually something that works and it's easy and makes sense. It kind of feels like that dead time, the dead time that you have between events, which is nice. And it also kind of creates a way for other people to connect with each other that they wouldn't otherwise do. Because another thing about crypto events is that you're kind of like, oh, who do I talk to? Like, should I go talk to you? Are we crypto buddies?
That's so real. That's so real. I mean, especially like I said, like we went to the Ape Fest in Hong Kong, right? Which is where they shot lasers right into my eyes, like which was a funny thing.
You went?
Yeah, I was there. Actually, yeah, that was a lot of. Well, it's better, but it taught me at least a lesson to learn the UV protection light, glasses.
That's so
it was crazy. There were a lot of question marks. Still, what I wanted to bring, there were multiple of those points where, just like you mentioned, the crypto conferences, the crypto conventions, crypto events are somehow different. They're similar to an extent, but they are overall different to the Web3, to the NFT. Much more. So NFT is much more of a culture, right? The Web3 NFTs is much more of a culture, of an ideology, and crypto traders are there. Well, basically for trading, right? So this is where you mentioned, that there's like, who do I talk to? Like there are not many strong, individuals. Quite often that would be like NFT just gives you this nice vibe, right? This Web3 NFT, just like you mentioned, right. Rebase as well. There's a lot of good vibe. There's a lot of this good feeling about it, right? Which makes people just connect so much more easily. So what I'm thinking is, see if you don't mind telling me, right? Because you've just lately launched successfully on the token side as well, right? And we're not going to perhaps touch too much about the token. However, I still want to learn, like, what's the experience seeing, the token launch from your perspective? Like that, so many days, so many months of hard work just coming into one place. Like, how did you experience that?
Launching a token is hard. It is so difficult in the background. I'm not even going to front. It was hard, and I can't even imagine launching a token without like being an established project, right? Like, we were very lucky in the sense that we have a really good project. So in a sense, it was easy, but it was also incredibly difficult, and the team was working nonstop, like no weekends, like 24-hour days. It was a lot of work, and it was incredibly successful. And it was an experience for sure. For me, it was definitely a new experience on the token side. And the cool thing is that we're able now to kind of like celebrate this launch with this activation that we're doing called the IRL Cup, which is essentially a way for us to reward, very loyal Rebase users and kind of just incentivize people to come and join us, because it's easy. And, if you're going for a walk, you might as well, touch grass and earn some Rebase points and potentially IRL.
I love it. You're so right. And by the way, I love the ticker name IRL, right? That
it makes sense. I mean,
touching grass.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of like one of the things, and we can kind of like delve into that. One of the use cases for IRL, we talked a little bit about, these scavenger hunts and having projects, partner with us so we can create these like stops, right? One of the things that we want to be able to do is have that accessible for anyone, right? Anyone could create their Pokestop without having directly to come to us, without us being the middleman. And actually, that is one of the future cases for IRL. This is kind of what we intend on doing, because as much as like we're fast, we want this to be frictionless, and we want people to create their own place in Rebase, right? We want people to have to be able to create these scavenger hunts and have events for themselves and make them even more exciting, right? And potentially even use Rebase in ways that I can't even, fathom right now. But that is kind of like one of the use cases. Therefore, IRL, it just makes sense.
I love it. I love it. I love outside of your passion that I truly admire. What I really admire also is the actual dedication to the learning side. It seems that first of all you've got a lot of experience, right? That there's an actual passion for learning that, and that's truly unique, right? Because getting those things, getting really into crypto without passion basically means getting burnt out like extremely fast. Like it's impossible to, just like you mentioned, stay sane, on the emotional side most of the time, because there is, it's on one day you wake up and you just kind of like realize, okay, there are a bunch of people, many of those are quite often drug addicts, some of them fall into depression. There's a lot of bad things at times happening around crypto. However, seeing just like you, so beautiful people like yourself, with so much smile, so much enthusiasm is always great, because it kind of like gives you this other perspective. And mentioning of the launch, and the RL tokens and everything, I was really curious, right? Like from your very perspective, of course, you're very experienced. What would you say is the next angle that Rebase is going to focus? Is that going to be scaling into the app utilities? Is that going to be scaling into the brand presence in the app itself? What does it look like from your perspective?
So one of the things we're going to focus on is user experience, creating a better user experience, expanding the IP, making sure that people feel like, they're connected with the app, right? Because we can have an app, but we need people to connect with it. We need people to connect with the IP. So we're going to be focusing on that. But besides that, we're also going to be focusing on Web 2, because we believe in mainstream adoption, right? And this is kind of like on the forefront of if it's not on the forefront of everyone in Web3, then, like you're not doing it right. So we have to think about mainstream adoption and how that looks like and what that looks like. And one of like the key components of Rebase is how frictionless it is. It's on the App Store. You can download it. My mother downloaded it. It was super easy to do. She didn't even feel like it was like a crypto thing or a Web3 thing, which is something that we really wanted to make sure that it didn't feel like a Web3 app. I guess the consensus is that Web3 gaming will be mainstream when we stop saying that Web3 gaming is Web3 gaming, and it's just gaming with blockchain, working in the background. And that's kind of like what we want to do. We want to focus on Web 2. We want to have Web 2 businesses use Rebase to promote themselves. Imagine like a Starbucks, right? Having like this big Starbucks cup in like all the Starbuckses, and people could just go and redeem coupons or even collectibles, and just overall like create a more immersive experience from the consumer base, right? Like the consumer all of a sudden doesn't look at the brand as just a brand, but as something more. And this makes us very excited at Rebase, providing those experiences, making things immersive, bringing like the digital into the physical. That's kind of like how we see it and how we see our app growing. And just kind of like being like, if you will, like the Uber Eats of like geo-located rewards. Yeah, I don't know if that makes sense.
Yes. It
Okay.
does. It does. It does. This is. I'll take it as a perfect response, actually. Right.
Amazing.
What I'm thinking. What it, what I'm thinking. See is that well. That you're very creative, right? There's a lot of creativity on your end. There's a lot of very smart ideas. And what I'm thinking is, from myself being a complete layman in terms of, let's say, the the entire app from the back end, coding, programming. I would mostly focus, just like you rightly pointed, on the user experience, right? How it feels, if it's really what it feels like, if it's really frictionless, just like you mentioned, if that can be used by anyone outside of crypto, because at the end of the day, those are the people we're calling to, right? So we only
Right.
can expand the regions that are unknown and undiscovered, for crypto, which is basically outside of crypto, right? So I perfectly agree with you that that it has to happen. The adoption happens with the frictionless way, right? It only can happen when we provide them a feeling, to the people, the prospects, a feeling that they're not really dealing much with crypto, because the moment they see a wall of 20 different wallets to connect and 20 different instructions, right? It's very complicated and discouraging for them. So
Yeah.
one question I have, see, to you personally is, knowing that you're very creative, is there any particular vision or any particular feature that is not present at this moment in the Rebase app that you personally would love to see?
Oh, I love that question. I love that question because I'm working on that question. Oh, so again, IP for me, like I'm a creative person. I love strong IPs. I love storytelling. It's kind of like what I do for a living. So expanding on that front is incredibly exciting, and it's something that we're working on in the background, and it's a lot of fun being able to take something and then turn it into like this universe, right? Like this immersive a universe where there's characters and there's story and there's purpose, and creating characters that people can empathize with and cherish. That's something that I particularly love doing, and it's something I love about my job. And I can't wait to have that on Rebase, because I feel like that, stories have the power to move mountains. We know this. I mean, we've been telling stories since the dawn of time. It's how human beings have been able to communicate with each other, and you know kind of bringing that tradition into the things that we do every day, and making sure that the things that we do does tell a story. It resonates deeply with something within people, within humanity, right? So as you can see, I get very excited
I
about
love
this.
it.
Like, yes, storytelling, please. So that's something that I can't wait to see, and I can't wait for us to kind of show. I'm trying to like say things very carefully so that we don't do any like spoilers. But it's been really, really cool. I mean, if you look at like Pokemon, right, or any kind of like really big IP, Pokemon I can remember seeing it when I was very young. I fell in love with the story. I fell in love with the characters, and that got me into collecting everything Pokemon, cards. I had everything. I was such a 90s kid. Like I had even glow in the
Did you
dark
have the small
stars that were
figures too?
yes, yes, everything, everything. And it was because I fell in love with that story. So being able to try to recreate that for an IP is like very, very fulfilling for me. And I think more brands should be focusing on this. I think a lot of brands in Web3, a lot of projects in Web3 really overlook the power of a good story, and the power of a good IP and characters that you can relate to and things that you can relate to, because that's how people discover more about the world and themselves. It's through things that they kind of connect with. Like I think we as humans, we're here. The purpose of our life is to connect with others and in turn connect with ourselves. So anything that kind of is a proponent for that, I think, has always the chance of being incredibly successful and fulfilling, obviously.
Oh, see, I tell you one thing. I'm wrong 5,000 times a day. I lose a lot of money. I fall for many scams. One thing that I know and that I see is that probably that's a type of of a session discussion that you and I probably could run for hours, right? Like you're
Oh,
mentioning the
absolutely.
purpose of life, the storytelling. There's so much to be said about that, and that's such an inspiring topic, overall, right? Because, like you mentioned, storytelling is what builds the connection, right? Is what attaches you to the actual story. You're part of the journey,
Absolutely.
as a user. So perfectly agreed. And like I said, I have to be careful on my end, just not to ramble too much because that's such an inspiring topic. One thing that I meant, one thing that I'm really curious, and something I see some questions asking basically, can Muriel talk and go to $1? So that perhaps may happen with the good storytelling, just like you mentioned. See, one thing that I'm wondering is, because you mentioned you have to be careful on your end, with not spoiling the party too early. However, let's do a little bit of gymnastics, from the work
Okay.
perspective. So why don't you tell us one thing that you cannot tell us, well, in some sort of like a round way, so that we still get the meaning about Rebase.
Oh man, you're gonna put me in the spot. After this, I'm gonna get a call and see what was going on. I can't believe you did this. You revealed all the secrets.
Just do it carefully.
Well, okay. I guess one of the things, okay, I can give you alpha, right? I think the most important thing, I think that might be more valuable than like things that I cannot tell. But the alpha is, and it's simple alpha, and I think it's alpha that it's pretty straightforward. Download the Rebase app. You want to have the Rebase app downloaded. You want to have your backpack upgraded, and you want to have, you want to walk. You want to exercise. Like if you do that, good things will come. Which is I think, yeah, I mean, honestly, the best advice, the best alpha I can give regarding like Rebase right now is just do it. I mean, like there's no commitment here. Like you don't have to do anything. You just have to download and walk around. It's like, and it might do you a lot of good. I'm just throwing that out there. I
I
mean,
love it.
yeah, maybe expect some lore, maybe some updates to Raymond, our beautiful raccoon. Who knows? There's a lot of things happening. There's actually a lot of things happening. I'm trying not to say anything. There's a lot of awesome partnerships coming soon as well. Yeah. I hope that was good.
It was good. It was good. I would have never be able to, to do it as well as you did. Well done. So what I'm thinking is, before we start kind of like wrapping, from someone. Well, there's a question, perhaps, by the way, just popped in from Michael asking, how to connect a wallet. What would you instruct the newcomers to do?
Oh, like super easy. First of all, when you download the Rebase app, it automatically creates a wallet for you. And if you click on the wallet, you can import or export wallets. And we support a lot of blockchains. It's not just Solana, which is kind of cool. And that's actually something for the future. We want to be completely cross-chain and just be on all chains. And actually, one of the awesome features that it's actually kind of one of the things that made me like really bullish on Rebase was that and Edmund told me this. It's like, you're walking, right? You find a Solana NFT, right? It just goes into your Solana wallet. And then you find an ETH NFT, goes into your ETH wallet. You don't have to change networks. It's actually amazing. There's no friction. It just goes into each individual wallet. And you can send NFTs, you can receive NFTs, you can do like the basic stuff that you would do in any kind of wallet. And yeah, it's pretty easy. You don't have to for you to download the Rebase app, you don't have to actually connect your wallet. It just creates one for you. If you want to, you can import your wallet or export your wallet. It's just like if you want to, obviously.
Wow, right on. So there are going to be a lot of background noises from my end. The birds started chirping, which means I'll need to wrap the show most likely. The parrots, the burb nest is about the parrots, the burbs, the burb nest. There's a lot of meme behind this story, and I think they're just waking up. So probably that gives us a nice actually touch point, to start wrapping the show, and having so much of the excellent insights from you, so much alpha, and then put it in such an excellent creative way. Well, that really inspires not only me. I think that's going to inspire a lot of people, to delve deeper into Rebase, right? Because there's a lot to explore and there's a lot to earn. There's a lot to discover in terms of the NFTs. Just like you mentioned, there's a lot coming up, and 2024 is an excellent opportunity for many traders to take a look at Rebase, who are our partners. And having this excellent session with you, see that really puts me in a lot of enthusiasm. So if there is one thing, just maybe to wrap the show from your end, one golden tip that you leave our viewers and listeners with, what's that going to be?
Okay, so a golden tip in Web3 or for Rebase? I would assume for Rebase, yes?
Can do both.
Okay. For Rebase, Rebase is very simple. We all need to touch grass, all right? I do. Okay, but I am not healthy right now. Okay, we go touch grass together, all in Rebase. And the good thing is that while we're touching grass, getting our exercise, trying not to die of stress, we earn points, and then depending on those points, we get token for it. So that's kind of tip number one. Like let's go for a walk and make some money. I mean, I think that's win-win. And then I guess tip number two is don't be afraid of trying new things, and be eternally curious. Yes, be eternally curious, because you never know. You never know what's next, and you never know how a decision can take you, and what path saying yes to something can take you. I mean, for me, saying yes to crypto changed my life, and it was random at a dinner. So be eternally curious, and try new things, and we got this. 2024 is a good year. I'm excited.
I love it. I perfectly agree. Ladies and gentlemen, that's been an excellent session, very enthusiastic, very creative as well. And I think that speaks volumes of who C is for the Rebase and for the whole industry. We need more of you, C. So if you find a way to replicate and multiply yourself, bring it in the whole army of Cs, please, and we're going to make it in 2024. Thank you for joining.
Oh, good. Sorry. No, I'm just gonna say I'm really lucky because
okay.
there's actually a lot of women like me in the space. It's really cool. I'm very proud to be surrounded by you and just so many talented people here. I'm very blessed. Feel very happy to be in this space. And if anyone has any questions regarding Rebase, you can just DM me on Twitter. It's C3PO. And thank you. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
That's okay. Ladies and gentlemen, before the birds chirp themselves and your ears out, I'll wrap the show right here. Thank you so much, Steve, for joining. You're an excellent, gifted speaker, so I appreciate your time and presence. And I've been your host, that is Lynching CMT, and looking forward to 2024. There's going to be a lot of good stuff coming up. God bless, stay safe, and see you around. Let's go.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.